On this episode of Street Rat Garage Extra, we will be looking at the only car I have that is not a total piece of crap. My 1956 Volkswagen Beetle. So this back here is my 1956 Volkswagen Beetle. I do not talk a whole lot about the 1956 Beetle because it's clean and it's a very nice car. It took me about 3 years to put this one together. It's all shiny. That's not what we do here at Street Rat Garage. This is what we do at Street Rat Garage. We do gross and disgusting, but cool. But this is also cool. This is the only shiny car that I actually own, a vintage shiny car. But yeah, this about 3 years to put this together. When I got it, it was in pretty good condition. I'll post a picture. Here's a picture of it, what it looked like when I first got it. So that's when I first got it. It had been in a barn where was it? It was in a warehouse somewhere in New Mexico. So it was in a dry environment. It was a solid car when I first got it. Somebody had been working on it, so I didn't have to do a whole lot of work. It went to the paint shop. Here's what it looks like at the paint shop. Just got it out here. So not too bad, a paint job. It was local. It was very inexpensive paint job, actually. It came out very nicely for what I paid for this paint job. You'd be surprised. It's a two-tone paint job. It's candy apple red. I believe it has a gold under base to make the red a little bit darker, and of course black with a little metal flake on top. So, well, let's have a look around on this, and we shall start, of course, at the beginning. And underneath what the Europeans call the bonnet. We call it the hood, but it's actually the trunk. So in order to fill your gas tank, you do have to open up the bonnet and get to your gas cap. Now this Volkswagens, I think they came into the US in 1946 or 1947. Somebody can correct me on that, I'm not sure exactly. But until 1968, this is what you had to do. You had to open up the bonnet in order to fill your gas. So in 1968, they put in a service door right there, and a tube that went to the gas tank. Made it a lot easier. The problem with these early style is that you have this prop rod right here. This is only on one side, and it puts a lot of pressure right in here, and you get stress cracks. This hood was repaired because it actually had a stress crack in it. So underneath the hood, it's a little bit dark in there. Let's see if we can shed some light on that. Hold on one second. Okay, we're back with handy dandy flashlight. And as you can see in there, that is the fuse block. Got a little bit of cleaning up on the wiring to do. That should be hidden, but there's 4 main fuses there. There's 2 more right there. That's all the fuses you have on this early model Volkswagen Beetle. I installed that wire and harness myself, which was no fun at all because I don't like to do wiring. Okay, moving on. This hood, they don't usually come with this nice little fancy doodad on the front, but you know, aftermarket. This is what's called a 4-tab hood. Why is it called a 4-tab hood? Because 1, 2, 3, 4 tabs protruding out the back. The later models have a 3-tab hood, and it has a raised portion, that up little platform that the Volkswagen emblem actually sits on. So Moving on to the fenders. The fenders are unique to the early model Beetles as well. I can't remember when they stopped, but this right here, this turn signal, is what's called a bullet style. Well, the whole fender is called a bullet fender, but that's what makes it a bullet fender, that bullet styled turn signal marker there. The early model Volkswagens also have the bumper brackets that come through the apron there. The later ones have them coming through the fender. That's how you can tell a little bit of difference on the early and late models. The early models have a glass bowl right here for the headlight illumination, and on later they're just sort of flat. They're not as stylish, I don't think. And these are horn grills. The later models do not have the horn grills on them either. This is an aftermarket billet aluminum bumper right there. So I need to put a little plug right there on that hole because there's a brace that comes out on the original bumpers, the what they call the towel rack style bumpers, which are also cool, but you know, this is all customed out, so we didn't do that. The trim right here is from the factory. It's sort of a stainless. This is more of a chrome. It's a bit shinier, but yeah, that's aftermarket too. It just looks a little bit better. Replace the door handles, I replace all the window sills. This glass is this is original glass. This one and this one is actually an aftermarket. Can't tell the difference at all, except there is a little, can you see it right there, that glass? That's has the markings of Volkswagen Doro glass or something like that. I believe this window is actually in backwards. I can't, it looks like the writing's backwards. I mean, can you install them backwards? I don't know. No, I don't think it is. See, this one's, no, this one's right. This is the original, this is the original oval window for this car. This is why they call it an oval window Volkswagen. It started, what, the early models were what was called split windows, and there would have been a bar that went right through the middle of that. And of course, you know how safety things are. They didn't think that was safe because you couldn't see, so they removed the bar, then made it an oval window. Then it wasn't safe enough, so they made the whole window a little bit bigger in 1958. And then on down, what, in 65, they made it even bigger. So that's another way that you can tell your Volkswagen years. So these side glasses are a little bit different as well. They're like 1947-ish to like 1950, what, 65 when they made them a little bit bigger. So that's another way you can tell your Volkswagens. These early models, the door frame is actually bigger, the glass is actually smaller in the 40s, 50s, 60s to like 1964 was the last year for the smaller, and then these windows got bigger. These all got bigger, this got bigger, that got way bigger on the back in 1965. Well, that got way bigger in 1958 and then got even bigger in 1965. Yeah, Volkswagen stuff. Okay, yeah, the front glass was made bigger too in the 60s. So, okay, we're not done here. This rear deck lid, this is what's called a W deck lid, and these are very expensive and very hard to find. So if you you know where one of these are, you might want to hold on to it. They're going for about $500, $600, $700. This one right here is in really good shape. This would probably be $800, $900. Yeah, these things are ridiculous. So it's called a W deck lid because whoop, it looks like a W. That's till 1957, 1958. It just sort of comes down and smooths right there. So this pops open, but before we got to have a look at these tail lights. So those taillights are also remnant of an early model Volkswagen. These are actually, I replaced these lenses. Those are actually LED lenses. And they're nice and bright. Can't remember when they stopped making these. In, was it 60, 61? I can't remember. Somebody can tell me when did they stop making this style tail light. We went to the bigger ones. Anyway, aluminum bumper on the back. It's got the bigger exhaust. It's got a backup light that is not hooked up for whatever reason. And in the back, for the power plant, we are sporting a 1915 Volkswagen air-cooled engine. 1915 is simply a 1600 with bigger jugs on it. You have to do a little clearancing on the block in order to accommodate, but you have to bore, you get the bigger jugs, the cylinders are detachable from the Volkswagen engine, so just put the bigger jugs, you do a little clearancing on the actual block so the piston fits in there, and you have a 1915. It's almost the biggest that you can get without making a stroker engine. So the crank is still the same in the 1600cc engine as it is in the 1915. It's just the pistons that are different, just a bigger bore. But it's got 2 Weber carburetors on it, which can be a pain to set up, really. I mean, it's not easy. If you can see right here, this is the set screws on it. If you want to adjust the idle mixture, you got to get you a little screwdriver. You got to get your hands in there and go to town. There's one on both sides, so that's not so bad. It's the one way back there that you got to worry about. Plus, it makes the back spark plugs a little bit more difficult to get to. But you know, I don't drive this much, so it's not that big of a deal. So, you got your relocated coil. You got your electronic distributor in there. Still got a standard fuel pump on it, fuel regulator. This only turns like, I think 3.5 psi of fuel pressure. It's not much on these small engines, but a local gentleman built this engine for me. I did not build this myself. I installed it, but I didn't build it because that's not what I do. So that wraps up the exterior. Let's have a look on the inside. Oh, so I still have flyers in here from the last car show that I went to. So this car has only been out, I think, twice this past summer. I don't drive this because it is nice, and yeah, that's why I don't build nice cars. So everything was stripped out of the inside. All new gauges were put in. That's a little oil pressure gauge where the ashtray, there's supposed to be an ashtray there. The only thing that I'm missing is I'm going to put a block off cover, a radial delete plate right there. I was contemplating on whether to put a stereo in there or a radio, but I'm just going to block it off and we'll say it didn't have one. This is a speaker grill, so your radio would have went here, your speaker went up there, and that sort of ornate decoration that was there. The Speedo, let's see if we can see that. So the Speedo, I rebuilt myself. I took the whole Speedo apart, cleaned it up, reset it back to 0. Can't quite see the miles on it. Looks like 380 miles on it that I've put on this car since I rebuilt it, you know, 7, 8, 9, whatever years ago. We refurbished the steering wheel. The floor is a little dirty from where my feet were. I need to clean that up. It's got a bug pack shifter in it. Here's a couple other things that I need to replace. The emergency brake handle, and this is the temperature control. This little knob right here, if you want more heat, you spin it one way. You want less heat, you spin it the other. That's all you got. But yeah, we don't have to worry about that. We don't drive it in the winter. It's got visors connected to the mirror. That's the way they came. Usually only the driver had the sun visor, but this is an aftermarket, so the passenger also gets a sun visor. Well, the interior. This interior came from TMI Interiors. I bought the package. I took the frames apart. I painted everything, put new cushions in it, and I put the seat covers over on this. It was real easy. I definitely recommend TMI. It's very, very easy to do, and they are well padded seats. Even have a fancy little key for the ignition, which you'll notice is over here on the passenger side. So it, you know, they were right-hand drives. So if you had there was a steering wheel there, that ignition be in the right place. But it just looks a little weird. You have to reach over and turn your car on. Door panels were TMI. Replaced the I can't remember where those running boards came from. They may come from Midwest Volkswagen. I think that's where these rims came from. These are Raider 17-inch rims, front and back. Low profiles on the rear. Well, on the front, real low pros. Can't remember. It's like a 80 series or something like that. And a little bit more meat on the back. But yeah, these got a little rust on the drums that needs to be clear coated, so put that on my to-do list. The car is static dropped, which means it doesn't move up and down. It's not on air ride, which I should do someday, but for now it's just fine. It does not ride well at all, but it's got a 4-inch drop in the back, and it has a narrowed and adjustable beam on the front. It rides bad, really. It is not comfortable, but as long as the road's smooth, it's okay. But a beam that has been narrowed, I have a beam right here I can show you. This is the front beam. And what they do is they cut it in half, whack out some of the center section, and then put in what's called adjusters. These little guys right here. See, with these, you can turn this and move it up and down, which it has torsion slats inside of it. It moves those up and down, and that raises or lowers the suspension, the ride height of your car. But once you start modifying that, just say goodbye to your ride. The real way to do it is to simply get air ride suspension. It'll cost you a whole bunch of money, but it'll be worth it in the end. So one of these days, this car will get the air ride suspension. But until then, it's fine. We just stick to the smooth roads and the interstates. This car, it has pretty good acceleration. It will run 65 easy without over revving. I mean, it'll probably do upwards of 100 miles an hour, but that's really pushing on it because it does not have a highway gear in the transmission. So do have to take it a little bit easy cruising around. But this is not a hot rod. It is not meant to go fast. It is merely meant to look good. So that is pretty much it on this car. Maybe this summer we'll get it back out again, take it for a few more cruises. May have to raise it up just a little bit, maybe just an inch, to get a little bit better ride quality, and makes it a little bit easier to get in and out of the car. And that will do it for this episode of Street Ride Garage Extra. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. We need a few more subscribers so we can start doing live streams. We do live streams when we get around 1,000 subscribers. So if you wouldn't mind, just hit that subscribe button, then hit the like button, and then hit the bell so you're notified. And also leave a comment. If you like Volkswagens, let me know you like Volkswagens. Are you in the Indy area? Do you belong to Circle City Volkswagen Club? It's our local club around here. Drop me a line, put it in the comments. Let me know what year Volkswagen you like, what year Volkswagen you have. And that'll do it for this episode of Street Ride Garage. Until next time.